Ladies and gentlemen, let me take this opportunity and share with you the beauty of mathematics in probability grade 12. Specifically in grade 12, we are going to look at fundamental counting principle for grade 12 probability in counting principle. What are we going to do here? We are going to have 8 videos. We're going to have 8 videos from video number 1 up to video number 8, where I will be explaining the probability counting principle and give you understanding of what is counting principles all about. We're going to have 8 videos. Okay, first of all, let me unpack the concepts of counting principle for grade 12. First of all, in grade 12, we need to understand why do we have counting principle as grade 12, as a topic in grade 12. Why do we have counting principle? We need to understand that. Okay, the second one, we need to understand the concepts of counting principle and its principle. As we call it a counting principle, we have principles for it. As it is counting principle, there are principles for counting principle to follow. As it is a counting principle as a topic, there are also principles for that principle. English. Okay, number 2. Okay, the third one, we are going to arrange objects dealing with repetition and dealing with what? Factorial notation in counting principle. And then we are going to have restriction, where we restrict position or we restrict by what? By grouping in counting principle. And then we are going to calculate probability. As we say counting principle, we count number of outcomes divided by what? Sample space. It means after a counting principle, at the end we need to calculate the probability, where we need a sample space, where we need possible outcomes. Okay? And then we are going to look at the repetition in letters. How do we deal with repetition? If there are letters that are repeated, how are we going to deal with that one? Okay, and we are going to form digit codes. It means that like we form a password or what, but we're going to use numbers to form codes. This is what we are going to look in counting principle. Okay, first of all, what are we going to look at? We're going to look understanding why counting principle as grade 12. Why do we have a counting principle? Why do we say counting principle? Why do we need a counting principle as grade 12s? Okay, first of all, why counting principle? Why counting principle? Okay, in grade 10 probability, we said probability, it is a favorable outcome divided by what? Sample space. In grade 10, we came up with that definition of probability. That is a favorable outcome divided by what? Sample space. It was not straightforward to calculate the probability. Then Venn diagrams were introduced to assist in answering probability question. We are given Venn diagrams in grade 10 as to calculate the probability, as to answer questions that are related to what? The probability question, because it was not that straightforward to calculate the probability. Then we need certain tool to help us in calculating the probability. That tool was what? The Venn diagram. We were given Venn diagram in grade 10 as to calculate the probability. Okay, in grade 11 now, Venn diagram were expanded to 3 Venn diagrams, then 3 diagrams and causality table also were introduced to assist us in solving problem in probability. In grade 11, remember in grade 10 we have Venn diagrams. In grade 11 you also have Venn diagram, but now we expanded to 3 Venn diagrams. 3 diagrams were also introduced. Causality tables were also introduced to assist in solving problems in probability, because it is not straightforward to solve questions. We need certain tools to assist us. Wow, how nice. Okay, in grade 10 and 11 now, we used certain tools to solve probability questions. As mentioned above, in grade 11, we have Venn diagrams, we have tree diagrams, and we have constituency table. So even in grade 12, we are going to be introduced to a new method of calculating the probability. That method called fundamental counting principle. This is also a method that is going to assist us in solving probability questions. Okay, why do we taught counting principle? Because we know how to count. Maybe one may ask, why counting principle? Because we know how to count. Wow, listen, it is not as easy as normal counting. That's why we need counting principle. It is not as easy as normal counting. I'm answering the question to those who ask, why do we introduce to counting principle? It is not as easy as normal counting. Paul, why do we need it? Counting principle. Oh, okay. From the definition of probability, there is a part of how many. That is a part of outcome. How many? So we need to answer the probability questions. Where counting is difficult in grade 12, we need to answer the probability question now where the counting is difficult, not as easy as normal. Therefore, we need probability to assist as we did it in grade 10 and grade 11 to come out with methods to assist us. Even in grade 12, we come out with method called counting principle. That's why we have a counting principle. That is a tool for grade 12 that is going to assist us in solving probability questions. How nice. This is the end of our first video. See you in our next video. Thank you.